Purple Pain Monday. Comment down below the real reason the Ravens lost against the Steelers, and welcome back to episode 358 of the Purple Pain podcast. Yes. Welcome back to an episode of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 358, with me, simply AS10, and that Sutton Def. A lot of names here, real quick. Just bear with me. The Elvis Dumerville, LJ Fort,
Mm,
uh, Michael
okay.
Pierce, Peter Bulware
Okay.
episode.
Okay.
I mean, most recently, I guess Taven Bryan, played for us this year. But for me, all about Peter Bulware. But yes, thank you for coming through this episode of the Purple Pain podcast. We have, unfortunately, a lot of kind of bad news to talk about, per se. But thank you for enjoying and spending your Monday with us. We truly do appreciate it. Right here, you can see Mr. Sutton Def. You can follow him on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram, simply as10.prod, or on X, simply as10. Then obviously on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. Already see DWAS here with a super chat. Let's talk about Alex Moore. Don't want to say we told you so, but we brought this up on the Thursday edition that this guy was a little bit of an op, a little bit
Mm,
suspect, and we'll go into that. Me and Sutton had a great conversation about that beforehand. But before we bring up the guys in the chat, I do want to ask you, how are you feeling? How are we doing? We're 6-7. I had to do it. I had to do it. But we are six and
okay.
seven, 2-game losing
Yeah.
streak. It's kind of doom and gloom right now in Baltimore, feels like.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. If I'll tell you this, if the Kansas City Chiefs were, not as bad as we are right now, it kind of gives me a little bit of comfort, a little bit of solace that not all the heat is going to be on the Ravens. A lot of people are talking about how, obviously the Chiefs are out of contention for the AFC West. So I'm like, all right, we get to live to fight another week. From the Nick Wrights of the world who want to grandstand and shit on the Ravens whenever they get a chance to. But outside of that, no, I'm just really joking. But outside of that, man, I'm feeling robbed, man. I'm feeling robbed, and I say that in the sense of not only the refereeing, which we'll get into that. We're going to do a deep dive into that and what we thought about, all those calls that were controversial and they didn't bounce our way. But I also feel robbed by this coaching staff as well. And we're going to get into a lot of that too. I mean, the title of this video on the thumbnail is "What Went Wrong versus the Steelers." Now, the Ravens are 6-7. They dropped 2 straight home games. This is like unprecedented stuff. This stuff does not happen to the Ravens underneath Harbaugh, Lamar. We don't lose back-to-back home games. It's just not a thing. And it's been a thing. It's like, very characteristic of this year's Ravens. And I think that's indicative of the people that you see running the show, and that's why I said I feel robbed by a lot of those guys. But before we get into everything we came in to get into, we got to bring up who's here in the live chat, right? We're live right now. Appreciate everybody for watching live. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel as well. We'd appreciate that. And if you want some exclusive content coming from this channel, make sure you join our membership, the actual hashtag Rain Gang. We'd appreciate that too. A couple members in the house already, and appreciate your super chat donation, DWAS, as always. And we're going to get more into Alex Moore. We're going to get more into Alex Moore. Do not worry about it. Taurus is in the house. What's going on, Taurus? I see Ashley, one of our members here. What's going on, Ashley? D-Wiz, another member in the house. What's going on? Q the God, Khalil Bowling, Lisa Ann, Andre. What's going on, y'all? Go, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Now listen, this is a tough one. It's another Purple Pain episode, right? Like I said, the Ravens are sitting at 6-7, below 500. 15 weeks into the NFL season, the playoff hopes are now at around 30%. 30%. You had to have that one yesterday. Outside of the glaring issues when it came to the officiating and all of that, Alex, what can you really attest this Ravens loss to? What really went wrong for the
Yeah.
Ravens in this one?
I'm not gonna try to be super radical. I want to scream. I don't want to get mad because that was kind of all about yesterday. I got that out of my
Mm-hmm.
system. But what went wrong? Thank you to everybody who's posted the all 22 because I'm going to be looking at it after we go live. I have a video already to make, but it's just honestly individual assignments. I've seen the linemen, not just, Flaley. I know that's kind of the big one we'll talk about, but special teams, the holding call, on that final punt. It's stupid stuff like that where
Yeah.
good teams don't make those errors. That backs us up even more. And then I think there was another one where I think Lamar had an option. I want to say it was likely missed a block, and if he makes that block, it's a huge play. Small errors. Jalen Warren, you know, dump off. Nobody's there. Easy
Yeah.
six. It's just stuff like that. We're not doing our individual assignments, even just average. It's below average. And to kind of have the performance we had against the Steelers at home, it disgusts me. I was gonna go to the game. It was 10:30. I got offered tickets. I got bundled up, and I was like, you know what? Why should I go? Let me down last week. I didn't go. It's just that's kind of where I'm at right now, and it sucks. But we'll get into more of it. But to me, individual assignments, guys are simply not doing their job at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, and we talk about individual assignments. One thing that stands out in particular is this offensive line. You
Mm,
know, it's the offensive line. It's also the defensive line too. I want to get into that. Don't get me wrong. I'll get into that. But the offensive line, man, especially the guard play, what we saw from number 72, Andrew Voorhees. I'm going to say his name. Number 77, Daniel Faalele. What we saw from those two guys yesterday, outside of a really nice run block early in the game from Falele. I even tweeted about it myself. I was like, you know what? That was good. I commend him. But it was pretty much all downhill from there. I mean, we're talking like all misses, like no hits. You know what I mean? Like he cannot get his hands on anybody. You guys have seen, the all 22 screenshots. And I'm sure you've probably seen some of it in your video that you're gonna post, Alex. I mean, this guy's again whiffing at just air. You know what I mean? Whiffing at air, letting Patrick Queen run right by him and getting Lamar Jackson's face, getting his face ran through by the interior D lineman, getting mixed up and out physicaled by a DB, somebody who he's got 100+ pounds on. You can't toss that guy out the club, right? It's just the things like that really kill drives. I mean, Patrick Queen for a lot of that game was living in the backfield. I mean, it was very reminiscent of what we saw from him in Baltimore. So the offensive line to me is probably the biggest glaring issue. And it was just a slap in the face today
mm,
because John Harbaugh got up on that podium and said he thought that the offensive line played well, all in all. He thought that they played well. And he said that he thought the two guards played exceptionally well in run blocking. And they played well in pass blocking too, but maybe they were a little bit inconsistent. These are John Harbaugh's words, even though it's clear as day that there were multiple drives, multiple plays where we either had to get off the field or we got behind the sticks and down in distance because Lamar Jackson has no time or Derrick Henry has no hole. And it's I love this. I love the fact, Alex, that national media is starting to wake up to it,
mm,
right? You heard yesterday Tracy Wolfson, reporter from the sideline. She said that, hey, on the sideline just now, Lamar Jackson and Daniel Faalele were in a little passionate back and forth, right? Don't know exactly what was said, right? We also heard that Zay Flowers was storming up and down the sideline saying that, oh, they know what we're doing. They know what we're calling every time. This is coaching. This is coaching. They are allowing this to happen. We can say that. I mean, in respect to your take, Alex, we can say individual assignments and everything like that. But at the end of the day, the number one rule of leadership is that as a leader, it's always your fault. It always falls back on you. Because if it doesn't, nobody has to take accountability, right? You're
mm.
running the show. John Harbaugh, George Warhop, talking about the offensive line coach. You know what I mean? Zach Orr, who by the way puts us in the same single high safety look that we've been in for the majority of the season. We run that same look more than damn near any other team in the league, and we constantly get torched. We constantly give up yards. So what did you think was going to happen against an Aaron Rodgers who can take his three-step drop and just throw it with anticipation better than damn near anybody else in the world? I don't care how old he is. He's good at that. He's going to hit you with that whole shot every single time. Man, I have a lot of thoughts on this game as to why the Ravens lost. But what else you got for me, Alex? I'm
No,
getting a
you're
headache.
you're you bring up accountability, and if your coach isn't taking accountability, why should your players? And that's exactly what's happened. And listen, I'm a big fan of some guys. I'm about to say what happened last year in the Bills game. Who did not talk to the media? Mark Andrews. After the Rams game, who did not talk to the media? Zay Flowers.
Mhm.
After this game yesterday, who did not talk to the media? Daniel Falele. As a professional, I get, it's the media. There's a point where you should own up and you should, have the accountability to say, you know what, I messed up or I had a bad game. But you're running away from your problems. That's not what that's not what men do. You got to face your problems head on, honestly.
Yeah.
And the fact that I think it was Kyle Goon from the Baltimore Banner
Mhm.
said that they cannot talk to guys, or it's kind of that unwritten rule. You don't talk to them when they're, shirtless or something. Falele had his shirt in his hand and walked out the locker room,
Yeah. Got that
avoiding
loophole on him.
avoiding questions. That to me was the final straw. Like it's not his fault to me that he's playing because obviously Harbaugh has a weird like infatuation with him in school. But when you are now doing things like that to avoid accountability, that's where my problem comes in. You're making a lot of money to be absolute ass, and then you're just running away from your problems. So that right there, and you bring up the coaching as well. John Harbaugh just looked confused at points. He looked like that old man that just is kind of he's out of there. He's lost it. Like you feel bad for him at a point because he's too far gone. And if this isn't his last year, there might be riots at one winning drive. I'll be honest with you. There might be pitchforks, there might be torches. It's not going to be good. And the little fight he had was on that one special teams play that he was right about. But that's the most fight I saw from him the whole game. And you brought up before how he got outcoached. We've ran for over 170, or we've outgained the Steelers by 170 yards in 4 games rushing.
Yeah.
We're 0-4 in those games. To me, that comes down to coaching.
Oh, for sure. For sure. 100%. And actually,
Inexcusable.
let me just go through really quick the team stats from yesterday's game, right? Because they say a lot. They say a lot, right? I mean, the Ravens had 22 first downs in yesterday's game to the Steelers 13, right? You talk about rushing yards. The Ravens ran for 217 on the ground yesterday. The Steelers only ran for 34 rushing yards, right? You talk about passing yards. Ravens threw for 203, and we allowed the Steelers to throw for 284. Now, a lot of that came because the Steelers were doing something that they have not done for the past month, which is throw the ball down the field successfully. But on this Ravens defense, right, where we got the single high safety look up there and basically just one-on-one coverage on the outside. So whenever your receiver, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, whenever I see my receiver get even with his corner, with his defender, I'm just going to throw it up. Especially if I have a DK Metcalf who can win a 50-50 ball against Nate Wiggins. I mean, you saw the deep pass when Nate Wiggins was guarding DK Metcalf, right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, I was watching it the entire time before the snap, broadcast angle. I'm watching and I'm like, yeah, DK Metcalf is about to stack Nate Wiggins. He's about to get a step on him. That ball's already gonna be in the air, and it's just gonna drop right in the breadbasket. That's exactly what happened. Now, I will say this: that first play, very first play, when they threw it and Marlon Humphrey got beat, Marlon Humphrey did get pushed off. He did get pushed off by DK Metcalf. It happened. They didn't talk about it. Tony Romo and Nance, they didn't bring it up. But he definitely got pushed off on that play. I think everybody was just kind of enamored and mesmerized by the beautiful throw, right, from Aaron Rodgers to DK Metcalf. And oh my gosh, we haven't seen that in over a month. Welcome back. We love that. We love seeing that sort of play happen. But then after that, again, like I said, we got out coached. We almost abandoned Derrick Henry again. We kind of got
Mm.
spooked. We kind of got spooked by the fact that the Steelers were able to throw the ball down the field and move the ball in that way. They didn't even really need to run it. And we said, okay, this must be a firefight. We almost stopped using Derrick Henry. We kind of spammed him to end the second quarter, which kind of evened out the numbers a little bit. But we almost went there. So it's a lot, man. Another super chat donation here
Natty boom.
in the house. Maddie Boom, appreciate you, brother. Maddie Boom says both guards suck. Mark can't be trusted. He can't
Mm.
get separation, or Bait can't get separation. Zay's not a number one. Our D line cannot get pressure, and our coaching is terrible. So yeah, let's kind of go through these, right?
Yeah. This is a
Alex, yeah,
really
go
good
ahead.
segue, Maddie. Thank you. So we kind of talked about both guards already, which is fair. Mark can't be trusted. I agree. Now, I know people didn't like the contract. I think they show the true value. It's like a 1-year extension. It's very team friendly.
Hmm.
I feel like we still got cheated after yesterday. Like you get that contract, and I even said in my pre-game on Thursday, I'm like, he has to have a big game. Like you just got paid, man. You just got freaking paid.
Right.
Like you
One
are the guy.
catch.
You lead us in everything. One catch, and I don't know what it was. I would love to like reenact that whole Chuck Clark thing, but the ball is over his head. He like does some flop thing where he jumps. They weren't calling that. And then the final play, I D Hop was open, but as a player, I get you think it's going to you, and if you let it go and nobody's behind you, I get how that may look. Um,
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about Mark before you move on to Bate, 'cause I do have feelings about that, and I'm a huge Bate stan, so I it may sound surprising what I'm going to say.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, shout out to DWAS in the chat. I see you. Tila, what's going on? Good afternoon. Spiritual War Exposed. Appreciate y'all for coming through. JD in the chat. Shout out to y'all. If you're part of the hashtag replay gang, you're watching this after the fact. Shout out to you. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new and you're enjoying the content you're currently consuming. Now, back to the program. When it comes to Mark Andrews, and we talked about this on the last episode of the show, I said it makes no sense to go ahead and re-sign, extend a declining player. And I don't care if you want to say that, Lamar Jackson just didn't give him targets. He had 5 targets yesterday. Came up with 1 catch for 9 yards. And I know the play you're talking about, the very last, the 4th and whatever, where it would look like Lamar Jackson was throwing it to D-Hop, but Andrews was kind of getting in that lane. So I understand Andrews as a
Mhm.
competitor. You know what I mean? Like, that ball's like there to be had. If I make a really good play right now, I can go and get that, as opposed to trusting that somebody's behind me, right, trying to make that catch. Because if I just let it go right by me and people see that I could have caught it and there's actually no one behind me, he would have gotten killed even more. So I mean, it's the effort there. There's also, you never know if Joey Porter Jr. could have jumped that route. I think the ball personally would have gotten there before, or D Hop would have stepped up and it might have been a contested catch, but D Hop would have caught it.
Thank you.
But all in all, though, Mark Andrews, I can't believe that we signed up for 3 more years of 1 catch for 9 yards in a big game, and basically would be a playoff game, right? In important games, where is this guy at? That's really what it boils down to. And meanwhile, you have his backup, his tight end too, scoring 1 touchdown, what should have been 2 touchdowns in this game. So if you're Eric DaCosta, that move is not aging well so far. It's not aging well. And of course, there's a lot of football left. There's still 4 games on the slate. Hopefully, Mark Andrews can make an impact some way, somehow. But if not, then I mean, that's just more wasted cap dollars. I don't care how team friendly it is, like you said, it's just more wasted cap dollars. But on debate though.
It was a stinker of a game for him. Yeah, on the Bate, because since the consistency is a big problem with him, uh, you're not the number one option. So when the ball comes your way, you've got to catch it.
Yeah.
I thought the chemistry was there last year. He turned it up in the playoffs, and that stretch, man, it's like a touchdown every single game, sometimes 2 dropped. And I know you can say, oh, it wasn't the best throw. If it hits both of your hands, your fingers, it's the NFL. You got to bring it in.
Yeah.
That's 7 right there. There's no excuses. Um, I,
And it
what else more can I say?
and I will say that, I mean, that was his only, I mean, he had 3 targets, 2
Mhm,
catches. He had 1 catch that was I think it went for a first down. It was a
mhm,
nice one. He kind of like covered up over it.
mhm.
Um, but then of course there was that one on 3rd down where we have to have this one, man. I mean, this is a game of possessions. I said it in the last episode of the show. I said I think that whichever team turns the football over first in this game will probably lose, right? Because this game is it's a game of inches. This Ravens Steelers rivalry. So you cannot be dropping easy layup packages. I mean, it didn't seem like a bad throw to me, Alex. I mean, it hit him like right there, like in the numbers, in the midsection. He just couldn't corral it. It was right in his hands, hit both of his hands, just bounced off of his hands. He knew it. You could see the way he reacted afterwards. Like he knew he should have caught that shit. And still love for Bateman. Hopefully he can turn things around, but that was just not a good look yesterday at all, man, from our guy.
Man,
Not a good look. What's next? What's next?
Zay
Zay
is not a number
Flowers.
one.
Zay Flowers finished this game with 8 catches for 124 yards. What did you make of his performance, Alex?
Thank you for stepping up and showing up. Thank you for having the cojones to catch the ball and run with it. He had a couple of times he went backwards, but my gripe with him, man, is he is like the slowest, fastest receiver I've ever seen.
Hmm.
Like that, the last catch he had where the play before likely's touchdown drop, whatever. I see Marvin Mims house at some house yesterday. That's what I need from him. That's I think where he's lacking in the touchdowns. That should have been 7 or 6. I
Yeah.
think he should have outran whoever it was there. Um, but I'm pleased with that. Thank you for showing up, Flowers, because nobody else on the offense felt like wanted to pass catcher wise. I tell you what, we could have used Tez Walker in that 2-minute drill. Really could have
That's for
used him.
sure. That's for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, Tez Walker, and he was a healthy scratch, right?
Hmm.
That is insane to me. That is absolutely just diabolical, bro. That Tez Walker was a healthy scratch. That's wild. Okay, anyway, back to Zay Flowers. 8 catches for 124 yards yesterday. Look, I was relatively satisfied with his performance down the stretch of that game. There was a drive where it was basically Zay Flowers. I think he might have caught 2 passes on this drive, or he might have had back-to-back drives where he caught big passes. But
The
he
fourth,
was helping get the Ravens. Say it again.
the fourth down. Yeah, he had the fourth down conversion.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. He was helping the Ravens get down the field. I mean, we know what Zay Flowers is. He can get downfield quick, fast, and in a hurry. Find the opening spot in that zone, and Lamar Jackson can see that coming and get the ball to him. The only issue is, like you said, there's multiple plays where it feels like he's leaving yards on the field. There's multiple plays where you look at and say, okay, I mean, I know I've seen other guys around the league, finish that play, right? And really bail out his quarterback and get his offense off the field. Zay Flowers is just quite simply not a get my offense off the field guy. He's just not, you know. And a lot of that comes from him, being an undersized receiver. Yes, he's undersized, but he plays like he's undersized as well. And that really shows up in his game. Like he can't for the life of him just pick one angle and just force every DB to beat him in a foot race. When we've seen other guys do it, we've seen guys like T. Higgins do it in our same division. Amon-Ra St. Brown and CD Lamb. And I know I'm naming like the upper echelon of wide receivers in the league, but these are staple, what you would call wide receiver ones, number one options, guys who can literally, when things aren't going the best, they can make up for it with their ability, you know. Um, yeah, let me see. First half offense was too predictable, says DWAS. Appreciate you, DWAS, for the super chat donation. But yeah, first half offense was pretty predictable. Go ahead, Alex.
I'm sorry. In non-Ravens news, Ian Rappaport just tweeted this.
Hmm.
The Colts are looking to bring back Philip Rivers.
What? And Philip
He's
Rivers is
44 years.
talking?
Yes, 44 years, hasn't played in 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry. That was just too good to like wait until the end. That's just some funny stuff.
I mean, he must. I mean, Philip Rivers must need some more money for those kids, man. He always got like
Yeah,
12 kids, something like that, something crazy,
something like
right?
that. It's crazy,
Yeah,
man. Crazy.
44 years old. Philip Rivers
Yeah,
is crazy. Go ahead.
it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to him. Yeah, first half offense, man, very predictable. It, I thought after the first drive, like our first drives look good. Like the past two games, scored on the first drive last game against the Bengals and the Steelers. We were moving down, so I'm like, all right. I think the Flowers catch was beautiful. It was nice seeing him track up ball, and then after that went downhill. And I think you can really tell a game when you look at, and no disrespect, at Rasheen Ali's snap counts. You can really tell how a Ravens game went. I
Mm,
think he had 27 snaps, so that means we were behind in the scoreboard, behind on downs, third and long, second and long, obvious passing plays. It's just a recipe for disaster. And you add that up with a bad O line and guys who really aren't with the most confidence pass catching wise, predictable offense. So yeah, it wasn't good at all.
yeah. No, I mean, what I did like to see was Keaton Mitchell really kind of
Mm,
put to bed, all of the doubt that this coaching staff clearly had in him for the majority of this season, right? I mean, a healthy scratch for the majority of the year, right? And we're seeing now finally what he can bring to this offense when every fan knew. It's so crazy how often the fans are right about stuff, Alex. Yet they call us like end of the bar, like
yep.
just Neanderthals, like we just know nothing. We're just meatless, like brain rotted people who just know nothing about nothing, right? We're literally screaming to the top of our lungs, like, "Hey, look, Daniel Faalele and Andrew Voorhees are not it." And meanwhile, you see it on Sundays. I mean, Tony Romo is covering it. He's constantly highlighting Daniel Faalele and how he's getting beat like a drum, right? Tracy Wolfson is calling out that him and Lamar Jackson are getting into it on the sidelines, right? You have the likes of national media. You got like guys like Shannon Sharp going off on Daniel Faalele for 20 straight minutes. Other guys on ESPN as well. I mean, it's just like it's so refreshing to see that other people are waking up to it, but it's still frustrating to know that the Ravens are just kind of turn a blind eye to it. They're turning a blind eye to all this stuff, you know? And it's crazy, man. 'Cause so they were wrong about Keaton Mitchell. They're wrong
Yeah.
about the offensive line. We don't know when they're gonna admit that, but go ahead, man.
And I tweeted this out at 2:09 PM. Every fan knew building up to the game, we take Henry off the field. That's even before halftime, and we took Henry off the field. Like to your point, it's crazy how fans know this stuff. We can predict how the game's going to go, and that's how it went. Like a playoff game, you go down, stop running the ball, and you kind of start pooping your pants. Now, when
Yeah,
Keaton Mitchell comes in, breath of fresh air, offense starts opening it up. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that would happen? But the good news, I guess, out of the game is he's fine day to day. He's not hurt. Didn't return to the game. And I think he tweaked something on that long run, which was good to see, but definitely doesn't have his full speed back, or maybe he won't ever have his speed again. But those
yeah.
type of runs are what we were missing. Big plays. It was good to see from number 34.
Yeah, I mean, it's he should be a staple featured piece in this offense, and I liked the fact that they were starting to get him more involved. I will say that
Yeah.
he was more involved in this game before he got hurt than I can remember him being involved in previous games. So hopefully he's okay. Like you said, it's nothing serious. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if he'll be available against the Bengals next Sunday, but we'll see. Hopefully he can play though, because he's an important piece of this offense for sure, for sure. Um, let me see what you guys are saying in here in the chat. Tila said he posted on IG that he's good. Yep, yep,
There we
yep.
go.
Um, what else did I want to bring up from this game?
Our parlay
Oh,
hit.
so
The
oh,
purple
did
rain
it?
parlay hit. It did.
Okay, okay. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, so we had Lamar under 1.5 touchdown. We
That
had,
hurts. That one hurt. I would have
I
rather
know,
lost. And
I
and that,
know,
yeah.
and we had Bateman 2 catches, right? Because that was Brian's
No,
pick.
we
I
had
want to say.
Derrick Henry over 80.5 and Zay 4 plus
Oh, right,
catches.
right, right, right. Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah,
Zay
yeah.
5 plus catches, whatever. It was, yeah, but they all hit.
So 2 of the last 3 weeks, the parlays hit, right?
There we go.
Hey man, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Um, but okay. I mean, other things in this game that kind of stood out to me. Mike Green almost had a sack. I mean, I guess his eyes got bigger than his belly on that one because he just completely whiffed. Like Aaron Rodgers. Picture me this, and I know how you feel about Aaron Rodgers. I'll let you take over. 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers getting low like that, and Mike Green just sailing over the top of him. Man, this pass rush needs some work, man. This pass rush needs some work. What do you think?
Along with that, this David Ojabo experiment, just waive him. He's taking up a
Come on.
roster spot.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like I see him on the field, nothing, no pressure. He's getting stood up. It's a shame, what we expected, and now what is come to fruition. It's just not good. Just a fresh start is needed. It's not here. And as for the Mike Green, just so close, and you let Aaron Rodgers run in for a touchdown on you. Somebody
Yeah.
just had the eyes in the backfield. Just one. I'm not asking all 11. Just one person. One person had the eyes in the backfield because he does have a little bit of speed. He's had that like sneaky speed per se for an older quarterback, even in Green Bay. He would run him in. So that hurt to see. I just like when it's a player you don't like, and Aaron Rodgers, his hippie ass dunking on us. I was pissed off. Like we just lost to
Yeah.
a hippie.
Bro. I mean, like, that was such an embarrassing loss, man. I was, we made Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf look like they were back in college
Yes.
or something. We made Aaron Rodgers look like he was at Cal. We made DK look like he was at Ole Miss again. Like they just look like
Oh,
young spring chickens against this Ravens defense. And to add insult to injury, what made it even worse is that the Ravens band was playing all game long, and it just kind of it made me like, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is thinking right now like this is easy. This is easy. Like this feels like practice throwing against this Ravens defense. I mean, he had the best game that he's had since I don't know when, but it was one of his best games of the season against this Ravens defense, man. Didn't look good. I mean, and what we talked about in the past couple of episodes, Alex, was this defense's recent success, was it fool's gold, right? Because you're playing against a bunch of teams who don't have an offense who can punch back,
yeah.
right? I mean, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Tyrod Taylor, JJ McCarthy, Tua Tagovailoa, especially at the time, Caleb Williams, young guy. I mean, those offenses can't really punch back in the way that an Aaron Rodgers. You put Aaron Rodgers with Mike Tomlin. Do you know what that connection really does? Because we found out yesterday. You get a coach who knows everything about the Baltimore Ravens, everything and how to beat the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers are built to beat the Baltimore Ravens, no matter how bad they are. And you pair that coach with one of the best quarterbacks of all times that understands the quarterback position to a T, right? If you give Mike Tomlin that weapon, I think he can beat the Ravens 9 times out of 10. I mean, and that's just I hate to say it like that, but it's clear and obvious Mike Tomlin is a far and above better coach than John Harbaugh. There's been way too many times we've seen him get out coached, just deliberately out coached. Am I wrong about that or what?
Yeah, and I mean, you only thing you can really fight back on is the 2 games last year when we finally decided to use Derrick Henry the correct way. The home game and the playoff game, just running all over him, which opened up the passing game. I just don't know why we went away from that. I mean, it's just think about the Ravens. Like we lose in ways fathomable. Like you don't know. We just find new ways to lose. It's
Yeah.
almost exciting. Like how are we going to lose this game? Yesterday was a new way to lose. It's just something that you just don't expect, and if that's what I have to remember these Ravens by in the past couple of years, well, so be it. But yeah, the only thing positive I can say is maybe no, they're going to stick with Tomlin and they can stick with 9-8 finishes, and maybe we can go a different way, and maybe we get our Mike McDonald. Who knows? Probably won't. Probably we'll get somebody who's not even close to that. But I think that win
So,
saves his job. I'm not gonna lie. He's going to be there next year and probably the year after.
yeah. And I'm sure a lot of Steelers fans, while they were celebrating a victory yesterday, they were also thinking in the back of their head, like, we could very well lose to the Dolphins next week and be
Yeah.
right back in the same boat, So it's one of those things for the Steelers fans. But I mean, for the Ravens, man, again, like it's so clear and evident that Mike Tomlin just has John Harbaugh's number, and every now and again, John Harbaugh can muster up a way to kind of thwart the Steelers' plans, and a lot of that comes from just Lamar Jackson being a hero. Sometimes, if he can make enough plays, right, to where the Ravens can kind of start to pull away. But I think that the Steelers employed a really good game plan yesterday, right? They
Mhm.
came out very, very early in that game, knowing that we were going to be trying to shut down the run. So they okay. Mike Tomlin said, "Okay, I have one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He's going up against a defensive line who cannot get pressure, right? And they're going to give us one-on-one matchups on the outside with DK Metcalf. We're going to throw it up to him. We're going to give him a chance. Doesn't matter if they have on a Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, matter. So I just don't know. I don't know how you can look at those two coaches like over the tenure of both of their careers and say that Harbaugh is better than Tomlin. I just don't know because and here's the last thing for the defense. I mean, we got exposed because in order for us to get pressure, we have to send DBs. We have to send 5, 6, 7 guys after the quarterback. When you play up against a quarterback with even a crumb of talent, right? A crumb of knowledge of of reading defenses and knowing who's blitzing, who's not, things like that, diagnosing before the play, like real students of the game. That's what a Joe Burrow, that's what a Aaron Rodgers is, right? They are going to they're gonna dice you up every single time. And that's exactly what happened.
Josh Allen, Jared Goff, C.J. Stroud. Who else do we lose to? Matt Stafford, uh, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. There's one more I'm missing, but that's who we lost to. Those are the quarterbacks we lost to. All veterans, very good quarterbacks that can dissect that, which furthermore proves your point. Uh, just I don't know, man. I think this defense was frauds and low key still are frauds. I mean, congrats, you beat up on some Jags, and now when the smart guys come in, now we just kind of piss our pants. And now moving on next week, it's Joe Burrow again
Yep.
in Cincinnati.
Yep.
The worst part about this all is we still control our own destiny, which I really hate. Like we still like just oh yeah, Mahomes. Yeah, I forgot about the best one there, Mahomes. It's just like just stab me. Just take me out of my misery. Just do it. I'm tired of it. Like I really am. Just end the season because that's what gives you hope, and it's the hope that kills you in the end. It really does. Then they
Yeah.
flex the game against the Patriots. It's Sunday night
Oh,
for what?
please, man. I'm
For
like,
what, man?
why? Why
Chris
embarrass
Collinsworth.
like
They're gonna use the Walmart 4K Skycam to show how ass our guards are. Left guard and right guard. Collinsworth, have a field day. Bring on every PFF metric to bring them down. I'm just done
Yeah,
with it.
And when you talk about the guards really quick, back to that, I mean, Harbaugh was seen saying today, he said that Emory Jones, he didn't get any snaps yesterday because he didn't put enough good stuff on tape to warrant him replacing one of the guards. Like he played 16 snaps on Thanksgiving Day. I watched every single snap that he took. He did have a holding call, right? That kind of thwarted one of the Ravens' drives. I get that. But if that's not something that you can coach out of a player who's playing in his very first professional game of his life, that's more of an indictment on you, John Harbaugh, and your coaching staff, George Warhop. That's more of an indictment on you. So it didn't make any sense to me. And by the way, I mean, Emory Jones wasn't ending up on his back and on the ground multiple times like the likes of Voorhees and Daniel Faalele do on a weekly basis. So it's like, don't insult our intelligence, is what I tell, is my thing with John Harbaugh. He makes us feel like, you know, nobody knows football but him,
Yep.
but the guys in his room, and it's clear and obvious that maybe you guys' judgment is bullshit because you're literally 6-7. You're negative. You're under 500. You're not performing to your optimal level. I mean, especially considering what the roster looks like. So it's just a lot. But I'll say this though, and we talked about the jobs being secured and whatnot. I think that yesterday's game, even though it was a loss, still kind of secures John Harbaugh's job. And we talked about this before we went live. And I guess we can go ahead and kind of transition into this part of the show. But appreciate you guys for coming through. Like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Shout out to everybody part of that hashtag replay game. Make sure you put hashtag replay game down below in the comments and let us know what you're thinking about this Ravens loss yesterday, 27-22 heartbreaker.
Whew.
Ravens are now 6-7. But the reason why I say, Alex, that John Harbaugh got his job saved yesterday, despite it being a loss, is because of how the Ravens lost yesterday and how the media is covering it now. Because while there's been a lot of talk about, the guards and Daniel Faalele is a guy who, he can't block the sun out of his eyes, and people are really waking up to that. But more so than anything, people are talking about the officiating in
Mhm.
this one. That's been the main story that I've been seeing today, whether it be the Aaron Rodgers interception that was called on the field, whether it be the Isaiah Likely non-catch, whether it be the Travis Jones unnecessary roughness. Nobody's talking about that DK Metcalf push off in the beginning of the game. That's just completely swept under the rug, under the radar. Nobody really cares. But that aside, I mean, that was probably the least egregious non-call/call of the game, or officiating blunder. So let's go through them in order,
Yeah.
shall we?
Can
So
I,
the
add
first,
one more thing
go
about
ahead,
the
go ahead. Yeah,
coaching?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
About I see somebody brought up how we missed on Nico Collins with Bateman and how we missed on Puka Nakua. Do we think that Harbaugh would have played them? Do we think that they would have had a chance at wide receiver? I can tell you this right now. Peebles 100% should be getting snaps in this game. 100%
Yeah.
healthy scratch. We're throwing guys out there that just nothing. Like that's what I'm saying. Ojabo, I know they're different positions, but I'm sure Peebles can rush the passer better than Ojabo. On to our next topic. I'm sorry. I'm just tired of him just like bearing talent in the inactive list.
Yeah, no, I know. I trust me, I get it, and it's just like, bro. At some point, you have to wake up, smell the coffee, and realize that you got to take accountability for when you're wrong, and you've
Yep.
been wrong. Assessing multiple of these positions. You're the head coach. Yes, I know EDC buys the groceries, right? You're just the one who cooks it, but you're not pairing the right things together. Because for you to say that that's the best five offensive line, that's the best 5 line. I mean, I know you're talking about the D line, but just trenches in general, that's the best five. There's no way. There's just no way. So I mean, you know, they can do with that what they want. Another super chat donation in the house here. This one's coming from Heather. What's going
Thank you.
on,
Thank you.
Heather?
Thank you.
Appreciate you for coming through. Appreciate you for donating, dropping that 10 piece in the chat. Appreciate you, Heather. Heather says Lamar needs to attend practice. I believe that is why he has no chemistry with the guys, along with injuries. I can't all the way agree and say that he doesn't have chemistry with his guys. I mean, I do think that he holds the ball a little bit too long for my liking right now. I would like to see him get the ball out just a tad bit quicker. And maybe that has to do with, him not trusting where his guys are going, or really not him not trusting the offensive line. But again, it all comes back down to that O line for me. It's just, if the O line had better chemistry, Lamar Jackson would look like he has better chemistry with his receivers.
Yeah, and it'll help if our quarterback didn't get hurt every single week. But looks
Yeah.
like he got out of this one unscathed. I want to say didn't look like he. Well, then again, practice he might get stepped on. Honestly, I would love for him to practice every game. By the point, like you just want him to get some rest and get healthy. But it's not helping, like I said, with this line and when your guys are stepping on you. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta stop stepping on 8 too. Please stop stepping on 8. For the love of God, man. I mean,
How?
I can't take this anymore. Like, if we gotta put 8 in bubble wrap, and that's the thing. We're hearing that like Lamar Jackson is missing a day of practice because he got his foot stepped on. And then we expect him to go out there and play a full 4 quarters of football against guys who are
Oh,
actively trying to take his head off. It's
yeah,
like, how much can we really expect from Lamar? I mean, some people are still saying, "Oh, he's looking healthier and healthier every week." I still don't think he looks that healthy. I'll know when Lamar Jackson is able to make his normal um, you know, straight line cuts and jukes like he would normally do and just make guys completely miss. When he can do that, then come talk to me. But like just a little bit of a burst straight line speed that you're seeing, I don't that's not the Lamar I know. That's not the Lamar I know. He's way more electric than that. I mean, hell, he was in week 1, you
yeah,
know. And I know he's not going to get back to that because it's a long season, it's a long grueling season and we're in the thick of it right now, but stop saying he's healthy because he's not. He's not. But okay, Alex, like what we said
yes,
before,
yes, 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 yes.
man. Like I said, Harbaugh's job, I think, got saved in this one because of the calls. We're gonna go through the 3 most controversial ones. The first one came with about 6 minutes left in the second quarter. Right, the Steelers march down the field, but the Ravens defense holds up and holds them to a field goal. And as we all know, because you guys have all seen the game, you guys have seen the play, Travis Jones tries to burst through the interior of the offensive line on the field goal attempt, and they end up calling him for unnecessary roughness because he, quote unquote, ran over the long snapper who was deemed as a defenseless player on that play, which I haven't read too much into that rule. I mean, in the moment, I learned that, you just can't touch the head and neck area, but even still, that play makes no sense to me. It's like, is this football or is it not? You know what I mean? Because basically what you're saying is if this guy's a defenseless player, he's basically just like a wall on the interior that nobody can touch.
Yep.
How does that even make sense? But what did you think about that one?
That's my thing. How is the center defenseless?
Yeah,
Then should Linderbaum be defenseless? Because you can line two guys up on him, and if you, I mean, there's no difference of lining two guys up on a center and two guys up on a long snapper. Yeah, it's just where's the difference at? I just don't get it. And I'm glad it's, the NFL admitted they were wrong, but doesn't do anything for us. It's just
it's 4 points.
yeah, and that changes the game because you kick a field goal and that wins you the game. So you learn something new every day in the league. Learning that the long snapper or center is defenseless. This isn't football anymore. It really
Yeah,
isn't. So
it's really not. It's
thanks,
really
I
not.
guess. I mean, these rule changes are just if that's defenseless, then I will hate to see them talk about the tush push because the center in that play is absolutely just mobbed. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah,
That I mean, again, it makes no sense. It doesn't feel like this isn't two-hand touch, right? This isn't
no,
flag football, right?
no,
This is physical football. It's a dangerous sport. God damn it. Like, I mean, yeah, your center can get ran over. By the way, how else are guys supposed to try to break through and rip through that line to try to
right,
block the field goal attempt?
right.
It doesn't make any sense. And again, like you said, the NFL had to walk it back today and they apologized to the Ravens and John Harbaugh for missing that one. They didn't get that one right, But that was 4 points right there. It was a
Yep.
4 point swing. Another super chat donation from Asmodeus before we move along to the next controversial play here. Asmodeus dropping the 5 piece in the chat. Appreciate you, brother. Says Harbs is so ass. He doesn't call plays. He can't evaluate talent. No situational awareness. And has developed a Charmin ultra soft culture.
Whew.
I mean, you talk about the ultra soft culture. I mean, that's a fact.
Yep.
That is a fact. There is nobody on that sideline who can kind of be that alpha, right? And really like reel the dogs in. You know, there's nobody like that. And I think that Harbaugh, after the 2012-ish season, when the last time he had dogs on the team with Ray Lewis and all those guys, I think he kind of made a conscious decision to say, hey, look, I don't want any guys who are going to stand up to me and try to out alpha me because I'm not really too much of an alpha myself. So I can't have my players out alphaing me, right? So he's kind of like fostered this culture of like, do whatever the fuck we say, or you're going to be in the doghouse, right? And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he's been through enough cycles and generations of players to where that is kind of the standard throughout the locker room, you know? So it's just, I agree with you. Asmodeus, it just feels like it's time for him to go. Just like Steelers fans feel with Mike Tomlin, right? It's time for them to amicably part ways and just start over.
There's no excuses this year. You don't have Tyler Huntley. You don't have Josh Johnson. You don't have whoever out there, Anthony Brown at quarterback, and you're losing games. No, like you have your first team out there and you're still losing games. Guys you traded for out there to hopefully save this team out there, still losing games. I'm tired of the same cookie cutter BS every single week. Nothing changes. And as for the culture, you're right. That's why I brought up the Flele avoiding media. That is as soft as it can get.
Yeah.
You're running
You're,
away.
like you're not even building a nature of accountability. You're not building a culture of
Nope.
accountability. Of like you said before, multiple guys when they have had plays that arguably lost the Ravens the game, they're nowhere to be found.
Nope.
After like, where is the class? Like, where's the accountability? That's not a very do your job mindset mentality that you're instilling in your players right now. It feels like it's like every man for themselves out there. They're not playing as a team. They don't look like a cohesive unit anywhere. I mean, you got guys dropping easy passes like Bateman here. Mark Andrews just getting paid, but he's only catching one ball on 5 targets for 9 yards. It's just like what are we doing? What are we doing? So
Driving us crazy. That's what they're doing. But
that
thank
is
you,
exactly what they're
Asmodeus.
doing.
That is
Appreciate you,
couldn't
Asmodeus.
be agree with that more. But yeah, so we talked about I guess the field goal mishap.
Yeah. 4 point
Up
swing there.
next, up next, Mr. Rogers and that tipped pass. Missed. Oh, never mind. Hold on a second. Another one from Miss Heather saying Sutton. Do you think Orr needs to step down? He may need to go back to linebackers coach and learn a little bit more.
Yes, I do. I think it's time to bring in a guy who cannot be schemed against so easily, right? Because like I mentioned earlier, Heather, and appreciate you for the super chat donation. When you have a coach like Mike Tomlin, who again knows the Ravens like the back of his hand, and then you pair him with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who knows quarterbacking like the back of his hand, that is just a recipe. And oh yeah, by the way, the Ravens can't get pressure with four, right? They have to send extra guys, which makes it even easier for Aaron Rodgers to kind of just go down the field on us. And that's why you saw it happen so often when the Steelers really needed one, when the Steelers really needed to punch back, that's what they went to. I mean, hell, they started the game with that, you know? So, I mean, I think that John Harbaugh needs to make the executive decision to say, okay, look, Zach, we appreciate, what you've been doing. But we are going to ask you to step aside and we're going to put such and such here who just has a little bit more seniority, like who's been there, who's done that. That's the thing. Zach Orr is learning on the job in the middle of a Super Bowl window for the Baltimore Ravens. And it's just not acceptable enough. It's just not acceptable. That's part of the malpractice in managing this team. Putting people in positions of massive importance before they're ready.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. They do it on the offensive line. They do it in the coaching staff. And again, that's where it comes back to John Harbaugh, because as bad as Zach Orr has been, what did I say to start the episode with, Alex? I mean, I said the number one rule of leadership is that everything's your fault when you're the leader. It's all going to come back down to you. So I just, somebody needs to step down or
Yeah,
get
and I
fired,
don't
something.
I don't want to be the old head reminiscent, but when there was problems with the defense, back then it's asking Ray, asking the leader of the defense, undisputed leader, what's wrong? How are they going to fix it? Because it always go back on him. It wouldn't go on anybody else. He's a leader,
Yeah.
but instead we have guys now just not even accepting it and just kind of brushing it aside. Oh, we'll get better. There's next week, one game at a time. No, it's not one game at a time. It's the season is falling apart, and like I said, what's the excuse this year? In years prior, you had an excuse, but what is it this year? I can't. I
Yeah.
can't think of one. Oh, Lamar was hurt. Okay, cool. He came back. We won some games, and now we're dropping him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
mean, I said on to the next controversial play,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Heather.
So yes, it's what fourth quarter, 2nd and 10, I believe.
Mhm.
Uh, tip pass, I think from Okoye. Aaron Rodgers like catches it, like it's kind of on here, but Teddy Buchanan makes a fantastic play for a rookie, rips it out of his hands. On the field, they call it an interception. Ravens ball, fantastic field position, even more momentum our way. But they say, hold up, gotta review it, turnover, reviewable play. They say that he had full possession, knees on the ground, touch. That's a sack, is what they're saying, or is a catch and a loss of a couple of yards. I don't know what is a catch, what isn't a catch, because to me, it looked like the ball was coming out, didn't look like it was full possession. Um, I'm just confused. I thought I knew football. I guess I don't.
No, you don't know football, Alex, and neither do I. Clearly, like nobody, none of us know football anymore. I mean, it's clear and obvious here. By the way, Asmodeus, appreciate your super chat donation, calling it out 0-4 rest of the season. It's on the table, man. We got a tough schedule coming up. Tough schedule. I mean, you got Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. All those games are hard.
Yeah.
So that's on the table, especially with the way that the Ravens are playing. But back to the play, and shout out to all 80 people watching live. Appreciate y'all for coming through this episode. Make sure you like the video, subscribe. If you're listening on X, make sure you follow us on X as well, simply as 10 for him, Sutton Def for me. Or shout out to everybody else who's watching on Apple Pod or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So with Aaron Rodgers on that play, my biggest gripe was that it made me reminisce about a certain play, a certain throw to Justice Hill last year, the 2024 season,
Ooh.
where he catches it and on his way to the ground is simultaneously controlled by both guys, right? Much like this one with Aaron Rodgers and Teddy Buchanan, kind of fighting back and forth for it, right? It had already been established that it's the offense's players is his ball, right? Because the simultaneous kind of possession goes towards the offense. But in that play with Justice Hill, he had simultaneous control. His butt hit the ground, which should mark him down according to how they ruled it yesterday. But they rolled around and the other guy ends up with the football, and they call that an interception. But in yesterday's game, Aaron Rodgers, they say he had control, right? Although it was simultaneous, both Teddy Buchanan and Aaron Rodgers both had their hands on the ball. Aaron Rodgers immediately drops to his knees, right? Trying to get down, be ruled down. But if a knee being down is a point of contact, then so is a butt. What's the difference in between those two plays if Aaron Rodgers was technically a receiver on that play? Alex, am I tripping?
No, you're not. I saw that play come up and I thought the same thing. Like, wow, like doesn't make any sense. And the ball was not held to his chest. It was held to like his helmet or like his shoulder right here. Like that's to me, that's not possession. If a receiver were to have a ball like catch it here and a player rips it out, that's an interception. Is what I was taught. And to me, I thought it had to be conclusive evidence to go against the original ruling. To me, that wasn't conclusive. If we're looking at 15
Yes.
different angles and we're trying to find a reason to overturn it, that is not conclusive. It simply
Mm.
is not that. That is, I think, my biggest gripe in sports. Whether it comes to soccer, when you look at 500 replays, 1,000 replays, you're trying to overturn it.
Yeah.
That's what happened
Yeah.
yesterday. They showed all these angles, and you have Gene's territory, Mister. I know it all, man. It's just, uh, he wasn't down. But
And that's what
yeah,
that's what makes it feel like there's some sort of agenda or something like that. And I'm gonna kind of dig into that a little bit deeper
yeah,
too. But it's like you said, man. I mean, it's supposed to be the call on the field is what needs to be deferred to, right? If you're gonna go to replay assist, if you're gonna go to New York and take a look at whatever, you should always have to favor the call on the field. And the only time that you overturn the call on the field is if it's an obvious, oh, okay, well, sure, obviously, right? One of those type of moments. You know what I mean? You should be able to say that. Every half the country, hell, you have Steelers fans. You have Tony Romo on the broadcast. I mean, you have so many people who know the game saying "Oh, I guess I don't know the game," and the officiating. And see, here's the thing: I want to shoot the actual officials at the game some bail here because these decisions were not coming from the refs on the field. The refs were getting it right on the field. We're seeing it with our own eyes. You put us down here, me and my officiating crew, to judge this game with our own eyes and what's happening in front of us. We say is this. You guys say hold the phones, and but I say you guys, the guys in New York, these mysterious dark creatures we don't know much about. right? These figures who we don't know much about. You made a TikTok video a couple of years ago, Alex, and it was, I think it was around it was about the Eagles or something like that, and
When
when they had
Big
Big
Dom,
Dom, yeah, Big Dom, they were trying to get
yep,
Big Dom off the field, and one of the officials came and spoke to Big Dom and said, "Hey, look, we just got word that you got to go. This is word coming from the league, you know," and they just made that decision to get him out of there. You know, these decisions, especially when they impact games like this, they impact plays, which impact games, which impact seasons, which impact jobs. You know what I mean? This stuff is so inconsistent, right? And it feels like these decisions are more corporate than they are football. You know, that's what it feels like to me. Because there's just no way that you can say that Aaron Rodgers caught that ball, maintained full possession all the way down. Doesn't matter that the ball was coming out by the time he got down. Doesn't matter that it was simultaneous possession with another defender. Doesn't matter that it was called an interception on the field. We're just going to blank all of that and just make our decision right here and say, actually, the refs who are at the game, watching this game live and breathe and watching up close with their own two eyes, fuck them. We're going to make our own call. And that's why it feels more corporate. And it does the NFL no favors when it comes to like people having trust, you know, in their product. You know, it does them no favors. Um, Really quick, we have a super chat donation from Asmodeus, another one dropping the 5 piece. Appreciate you, Asmodeus. Says we lost against a Pittsburgh without Derek Harmon, Duggar, Cincy without Trey Hendrickson. We play New England and Green Bay defense, and we keep the same O line. 0-4, Pitt and Cincy healthier. I mean, it's like I said, man, it's on the table. It's on the table. I don't want to say 0-4, but I could totally see a 2-2 or a 1-3. That's just where we're at.
I hope the players have more pride than that. I
Yeah.
really do. Because I know we don't want to hear it, but the season is still truly like well and alive. To us
Yeah.
right now, it doesn't feel like that. And I'm right there with you. I don't feel like I don't have a lot of hope. I don't have a lot of faith in this team after what we've seen the past 2 weeks, especially at home. It's one thing if like we won one of the games and like the other one. Let's say we beat the Steelers yesterday and the Bengals game is close. Like you feel a little bit better vice versa. But the
Mhm.
way we lost, man, and just like getting dominated, no, that's not Ravens football, and that's not what we know. It just is so stale, and it just feels stale. The offense feels stale. Coaching feels stale. It's like a stale piece of bread. It looks good. You bite into it, and now it's hard as hell. Now your teeth hurt. That's what it feels like watching the Ravens.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I don't even want to eat this anymore. I don't care if there's butter on it. It just is awful. So
Right.
I mean, and the worst part is like the Packers. They have flaws that we can, they're beatable. They almost lost the home to the Bears yesterday. Um, the Patriots. We'll know who they are, I think, this week against the Bills. But to me, a jury's still out. Unfortunately, they're number one seed, but we know how that goes as Ravens fans. You could be the best team in the world, and you can play your first game in the playoffs and have Derrick Henry run all over you.
Yep.
And then the divisional games, anything can happen. But to me, right now, if I were to be a betting man, I bet that we weren't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, man. It's not looking good. It's not looking good right now at all. At this point, the Ravens, like you said, they do seem like they're in control of their own destiny.
Yeah.
But you are going to have to play really well and win a lot of these games. You know, otherwise you're gonna need some help. Antoine in the chat says Sutton, it's the mob making those calls. There's big money on the line. Hey man, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, because you got these guys in New York, and we're about to get to the bombshell one right in a second here. But you've got these guys who are sitting in this room in New York, who are basically, like I said before we went on the show, they're basically cosplaying as the football gods,
Yeah.
right? And making these decisions in real time, and like just saying like, okay, you know, we know what you called it on the field, right? And we know that like kind of the rule of thumb is that whatever the officials call on the field, unless it's just literally without a shadow of a doubt, like beyond like it's within common sense that that was the wrong call, we're not going to reverse it. But you saw them do that on multiple occasions yesterday in that game, and it was just very disheartening to see. Felt like we got robbed. Definitely felt like we got robbed. In multiple cases. Another super chat donation before we get to the last one here. Let me see. Brian
My guy.
DeRosa, what's going on, Brian? Appreciate you for coming through, dropping the 2 piece. Says that L was demoralizing. Feels so deflated today.
Great way to describe it. Because I agree. I agree. It was like that. I actually was a play behind, and I got the Twitter notification from the Ravens, the final. So I didn't even know that he got sacked at the end. It was still that third down. And once I saw that, I was like, how do we lose this game? If we would have had a passing the end zone, batted down. Like, okay, but to go down on a sack like that for our star left tackle to get beat that bad, to have the game winning sack, demoralizing.
And you
Great
know
way.
what's funny? You know what's funny about that play, that last sack, Alex, is that number one, Ronnie Stanley. Yes, he did allow his guy to get pretty much right in Lamar Jackson's path, but that's a play where Lamar Jackson maybe shouldn't drop back so far. You know what I mean? Like, but the only reason he has to do that because he doesn't trust the interior of his O line. And surprise, surprise, there was Cam Hayward coming right in his face, coming from the interior. So it just happened to be that, he backed up far enough to where if he didn't back up so far, Ronnie Stanley would have washed his man out of the play. But where I have to kind of, criticize Ronnie Stanley on that one is that, come on, bro, this is the last drive of the game. If anything, stonewall your guy. You know the interior of this offensive line has not been very good. So if anything, you need to take your guy and say, hey, look, I don't care what's going on around me. I'm not going to let my guy get anywhere near or behind Lamar Jackson. Not on this drive, right? Step up and stonewall him, because the rest of the offensive line, is not good enough to really support you. So that really sucked to see. Offensive line overall is just garbage, just garbage, man. But let's get into the bombshell one, right? So the
Uh,
final one. Alex, what happened? Take it away, man.
Big play. Zay Flowers. I mean, they actually missed a face mask on that play, by the way. Jalen Ramsey did grab Zay's face mask on that play.
Mm,
Goes on down like the bank is rocking. We have all the momentum. Lamar takes a snap, looks around, absolute laser to Mr. Isaiah Likely,
yep.
catches it, stretches it out. One, two, third foot coming down, knocked out. Judge on the end says touchdown. Other judge says touchdown. Ravens are up. Life is dandy. We are back. Hold on a second. New York is calling.
Mm-hmm.
Not a touchdown. No football move. What is a touchdown? What isn't a touchdown? I don't know. But I'm glad people went in the rule book because if you're extending the football away, that constitutes as a football move. So I
Right.
really don't know football anymore. I don't know. I honestly should just enjoy watching my other sports because football might not be for me.
Yeah, and I have been mulling over this all day long, um and okay, so here's what happened. So Isaiah Likely goes and he catches the ball midair. He gets 1 foot down. He's getting 2 feet down, and he's already got the ball extended, which means he's warding off an opponent, which is categorized or classified as an act common toward the game, aka a football move, right? So he satisfies all three elements, and where these refs who are getting on Twitter and these people, these rule analysts who are getting on Twitter and replying to some of the fans, they're saying that, oh no, it's about the order in which he does it. He has to get a catch first, control over the ball, then he's got to get 2 feet down, and then that's when he's eligible to make the football move after that. And as we know, a football move can be multiple things. And what it feels like is like not all football moves are created equal, right? It feels like they really want you to get that third foot down. There's is in the rule book that says, "Hey, look, you can substitute that third foot if you don't get that down, you can substitute that for one of these acts like tucking the ball closer to your body, turning up field, extending the ball out from your frame to ward off your opponent. You can do any of those things and it counts just as much as getting that third step." Obviously, it doesn't. And again, when we talk about the order of operations here and getting the catch, getting the 2 feet, and then making the football move, it doesn't matter. Like it should not matter if he fulfills the first two, but he's already got the third one done. The fact of the matter is, it's all done. It's complete, right? It doesn't matter how long he held on to it, anything like that. Like it's insane to me. It's crazy that they would especially this was the drive right after the Aaron Rodgers interception that was called on the field.
Yep.
And they didn't give that one to us. They took that one from us, right? We would have flipped the field and maybe went down and scored even easier. But they didn't give that one to us. And then this one with Isaiah Likely in the end zone, catch, 2 feet, extension, no touchdown. again, these moves, these calls, they feel dark, they feel ominous, they feel like they're coming from just somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because again, the people, the guys actually there in person, in the flesh, watching that one game with their own two eyes, as opposed to watching in a dark room in New York where you've got 8 other games up on the monitors, right? And you're kind of going back and forth. These guys know what they're talking about. This is why you entrust them and their refereeing crew to get on that field and call these games. So why not defer to them? Why do we have referees in the first place? Why can't you guys make all the calls? Why can't you hire more people, put 3, 4, 5 offices in New York, right? And just let them officiate the game remotely. I mean, would that be better? And then just have security guards in case of fights and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know, right? It's just, again, it just feels corporate, man. It feels corporate.
And here's kind of where like I just don't know what a catch is because I still have this living in my head rent free. Jonnu Smith catch against the Ravens in 2019, the divisional playoffs. Half of his ass cheek was in bounds, and that was somehow a touchdown. I even responded back to Gene Steratore. How can someone's half buttock constitute as, I guess what, as a touchdown? 3 steps,
Yeah,
a football move, gotta do a freaking backflip. I don't know. It just is confusing to me because how can that or the foot hitting twice or it's just there's just so many just question marks. And listen, I'm not blaming on the loss, but it definitely impacted it, and it, I don't know anymore. I don't. And
yeah,
like you said, everybody online apparently went to the NFL school of refereeing. They all live in Pittsburgh. They've been telling me, what is a catch, what isn't a catch. They should know after Jesse James. Um, you think, but they don't. So yeah, that just was bad. That was very
yeah,
bad, and that's going to be probably talked about a lot at the NFL winter meetings this year,
yeah.
or
Because I mean,
spring meetings, summer meetings.
the thing is, if that ball is caught over the middle of the field and a guy gets 2 feet down, right, and extends the ball away, and then somebody comes and bats it out, that's a fumble.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a fumble. They're gonna rule that as catch possession, and you got the ball knocked out. That's a fumble. But for some reason in the end zone, the rules get all weird and specific on what you need to do in order to constitute possession over the football. And it's like to everybody, and it's clear because I mean you even have Tony Romo, the guy that you pay, I don't know how much he makes, but you pay a pretty penny to sit up there and color commentate that game. And he's saying, while watching it with his own two eyes in slow motion, he's saying, "Oh yeah, that's obvious. This one's gonna stand, Jim. That's an obvious touchdown." Just for the NFL to come back and say, "Actually, no, you guys don't know football." Even the people that we hired, right, to be in here and kind of tell you what's going on about football, they're wrong too. All the analysts on ESPN, they're wrong too. These former athletes that are speaking out, they're wrong too. These coaches here who don't disagree, they don't know football. None of you guys know football. It's an insult of everybody's intelligence. And just imagine, the NFL is trying to expand, right? Alex, you know this. They're trying to expand to different countries and things like that. They're trying to appeal to young kids. You see what they're going to do on Monday Night Football tonight with the Toy Story theme and all that. Imagine being a young or a new football fan, right? And you've been watching for a couple of years and you kind of have a good idea on what a catch is, right? And you see something like that. And it just continues to kind of blur the lines and kind of it makes the game more confusing, right? When you have these inconsistencies, when calls can't be objective, right? Because it's like double subjectivity almost. It's like, okay, what do the refs think? And now we're gonna go see what these guys in New York think, right?
yep, yep.
And it's just
It makes no
uh,
sense.
it makes no sense, man. It makes no sense. But again, like you said, I don't want to put the loss solely on the controversial calls. I mean, the
Yeah.
Ravens, they should have won this game. They should not have come out so flat,
Yep.
like they did early in this game, especially not defensively, allowing this Aaron Rodgers led Steelers offense who have been anemic against pretty much everybody else in the league, just allowing them to do whatever they want. Right. Did we not watch
Yep.
film? Did we not see how to defend this team? Did we not see what type of coverages that this team struggles against? We just want to
Yep.
employ the Ravens plan to beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
We're not going with what's actually working against the Steelers in 2025. We haven't seen this team all year,
Nope.
right? So I would probably defer to some tape from this season, other teams that they've played, and see what the Steelers struggle with because it didn't look like they were struggling at all. Not at least until the second quarter, mainly that fourth, not second quarter, second half, mainly that fourth quarter, right? When the Steelers maybe had 10 yards of offense. So
Yeah.
it's it's again, like I said, I feel robbed by the coaches. I feel robbed by the NFL, the guys in New York, I guess, the replay assist. It's just a disheartening loss, man. And now the Ravens are sitting at 6-7, with only 4 games to go. The playoff hopes are literally hanging on by a thread right now.
Yeah,
And you don't even have any confidence if the Ravens do make the playoffs. It most certainly probably be one and done, because this
yeah.
team just doesn't look good enough. They just don't look good enough.
And what makes me mad is like the defense got to stop when it mattered.
Yeah.
That's what really made me. They got the stop. They stopped them deep in our own territory to get the ball back, and then nothing came from it. It's like we can never put all three phases together against a good team, which sucks. So
Yeah.
we'll be talking about the Bengals game on Thursday. We're still gonna be here. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Or like some people should, but we won't talk about that. But I want us to make the playoffs. I don't think we will go all the way, but it's just I don't know as a fan right now. Like if you can look and say like I trust this team to win these next 4 games. 'Cause I just don't. What have you seen from the past 2 weeks that gives you faith that these teams can go on a 4 game winning streak? And I'm probably one of the most positive fans like to think. I don't see it. I don't.
Yeah. I don't see it either, man. I mean, we're talking about going on a 4-game winning streak. We can't even put together 4 quarters of football, of complimentary football. It's
Thank you.
just you
Thank you.
can't have one without the other. That's what it really
Thank you.
boils
That's
down to, man.
beautiful.
And yeah, it's just that's why I say like I feel very discouraged about this team right now in a way that I haven't felt quite like this in years. Because we're used to riding high. We've got our playoff spot pretty much all but locked up by this point in the season, right?
Yep.
Lamar Jackson is contending for another MVP. You know, which that ship has now sailed. I mean, I feel like he would have had to have started his campaign probably on Thanksgiving, which he had what 2 potential 3 touchdowns that he could have had there. This one gets a touchdown wiped off the board. He could have potentially went on a little run here, but like now that ship is
Yeah.
sailed. But it's just like I feel not quite like I felt in any other year underneath Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. So again, when we talked about is it Super Bowl or bust, right? We talked about that with Ryan, and I think like at this very given moment for the fans it is, but for the Ravens organization, I think that they are perfectly comfortable. They're perfectly fine with where they are.
Yeah. So, oh boy, I.
Yeah.
It's like where do we go from here? We could talk about I guess some around the league
Oh yeah.
news. Why
Oh
not?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We got some more things. We got some more things to get into. So let's
We do.
get into. Hold on, let me make sure we didn't miss anything Ravens related. We talked about the NFL flexing the Patriots game. Yep, we
Yes.
did.
Yes.
Also more Ravens news. The NFL suspended Ravens offensive lineman Ben Cleveland for 3
Yeah.
games for violating the substances of abuse policy. And to me, when I see this, I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, what substance would he need to abuse? He's not even getting in the game, you know?
So I saw it. They basically settled on his like DUI from the summer. That's what it was for. So that was
Okay.
the 3 game. I mean, it comes at a timely manner because as soon as Falele is getting all this like pushback, now the guy who would come in for him is now suspended.
It's like, oh, sorry, this is
Yeah,
our best 5. This is our
he's
only
got to
5, as a
play.
matter of fact. Yeah.
Got
It's
to
like it's
play.
one of those, and it's like, bro, we have Emory Jones right there, who you shut him down yesterday because you thought he was that bad on Thanksgiving. And if you
I
haven't
didn't see
seen the
it.
clips, that's what I'm saying. If you haven't seen the 16 snaps that Emory Jones took on Thanksgiving night, please go back and look at them.
Yeah.
And please let me know if it is leaps and bounds worse than what you see weekly with Falele and Andrew Voorhees. And tell me whether or not, John Harbaugh makes sense. Tell me whether or not like these guys aren't just like deliberately playing in our faces. It's again, man, it's one of those things. Moving on though, what else do we have? So T. Higgins back in concussion protocol.
Yep.
That's hate to see that. Never want to see anybody get hurt, but it does look like the Ravens will be playing the Bengals in the exact same condition that they played them in on Thanksgiving night because Trey Hendrickson is set to undergo core muscle surgery this week. That is expected to sideline him approximately 6 weeks, so he's not going to be playing the Ravens at all either. John Harbaugh said today that they need to get DeAndre Hopkins more involved.
He's has the best hands on the team. Like no, really, like, you gotta give him the ball more. Really, he does nothing but
Yeah.
move the chains and catch passes. That's
Yeah.
kind of. I thought were under that assumption already, but
And for me, I wonder if like John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta have these conversations because, like I said earlier, Eric DeCosta is the one who buys the groceries. John Harbaugh, he's the one who prepares the meal. So I wonder if Harbaugh has conversations with EDC like, hey, like when you brought in a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, what was your vision for him, Eric? Like what did you think that DeAndre Hopkins could bring to this team? And I can see if I can kind of translate that to on-field productivity, right? Are those conversations not happening? Because it just seems like we acquired DeAndre Hopkins to really just stash him, throw him the ball twice a game, maybe, right? And just kind of stick with whatever he's giving us out of that. And it's just that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any
no.
sense.
No, it doesn't. I thought he would have not the biggest impact, but at least more than what he's had. I think the first 2 games showed you a good amount of what he could do. Contested catches and get you, touchdowns. That's really what he can do. And now it's just 1 or 2 targets a game. As Modi
Mhm.
said with the two-piece thing, I'm considering making hashtag fire Harbs merch. I'll tell you this, you make it, put it on Twitter, you're gonna sell some merch.
Yeah, and
Do
you
sell.
you probably will. I mean, again, I mean the talks are getting louder, right? They're getting louder about, you know, and again, he got shot some bail. He got shot some bail because of the bad calls and things like that. And then the Bateman drop. You can always point to a player mistake here or there. The Lamar interception that was horrible, right? You can always point to a couple plays where it's like, okay, but I mean, players got to play, right? Sure, yeah, but when we see this team like consistently for as good as they are on paper, fall short time and time again, some point you got to put the onus on the leader. So you make that Fire Harbs merch. As Modius, let us know. Let us know. I see people in the
Um,
chat saying they're gonna buy a hoodie. That's funny.
yeah. So just going through, I mean, what else do we have to talk about from the Ravens? Is that all for the Ravens? I think we hit.
Let me see. So John Harbaugh spoke on Namdi Madubuike briefly
Oh,
today. He said that quote, "There's a lot going on there with Namdi." Harbaugh said he's not in a position to share the details. So I mean, it just gets
retirement.
darker and darker. Yeah, pretty much. It gets darker and darker
Oh,
when it comes to him.
that's what
What's
we
up?
didn't talk about.
What's
Oh,
up?
the ex-girlfriend. The ex-girlfriend
Oh,
came out. Yeah, so I think was it Friday night, I wanna say? There was a Reddit
yeah.
post in the Ravens forum, and I hope I get this right, correct me if I'm wrong, but, an alleged ex-girlfriend of a player came out with some, juicy news of the Ravens, and she said, "You know what? To show you that I am, for real and this is my identity, I sent my, I guess, what, profile or proof to the, um, moderator of
Mhm.
the forum, and here's what I found out. Number 1, players want John Harbaugh fired, most notably Lamar Jackson." And that kinda got
Mm.
me thinking, like, there was that Josina Anderson, report that, there was one superstar player who's kind of been pushing for his coach to, get the axe. So that definitely was interesting and could definitely believe it, but
I
taking
mean,
it all
yeah,
with a grain
because
of salt first and
you,
foremost.
you you look at what Zay Flowers storming up and down the sideline saying, "Hey, look, they know exactly what we're doing." You know what I mean? Like that's the thing right there where it's like unless you don't say stuff like that if you don't want your coaches to like wake up and smell the fucking coffee. Like, "Hey, look, bro, like you're sending us out there basically to die. Like what we're doing is not working. They've studied it. We're getting out coach. Put us in a better position to succeed, coach." Like that's basically what that is screaming, So I don't know, man. That's I can believe it. I can believe it
Yeah.
though.
This next one, Madubuike is retired, he moved to Texas already. I
Mm.
think that happened. I don't know about the moving, but I definitely think he retired.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw that picture he posted on Instagram. He looks like he's pretty happy, living
Yeah.
life. He's away from football. He's got a good contract that again I still think he deserves. He deserved every penny of. But no, I mean if it's retirement, then I'd rather them just kind of get it out of the way and tell us like,
Yeah.
as opposed to like drag it on.
Yeah.
But man, it's unfortunate still, man.
Number 3, lots of them get surgery in secret in the offseason, so it never gets reported to the press. I mean, that's not surprising. I definitely
Yeah.
like, if you're getting surgery, you don't have to really if it's in the offseason on your own time, who are you telling? Only the team knows. The team's not gonna leak it, I'd say, unless, like, you miss training camp or something.
Yeah. I mean, and it would probably be in the best interest of the players and the teams to kind of keep some of these things under wraps, with all the
Yeah.
reporting you got to do to the league. Like, I'm sure that there's like some handshake surgeries going on under the table. I mean, I wouldn't doubt
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's not too much of a bombshell, you
Yeah,
know.
and then the 4th one, to me, not a bombshell either. They have security guarding their hotel floor at away games because they had issues with people sneaking out. LOL. That to me, once again, isn't surprising. Uh, I think every team does it. Look at the teams in 2020 who broke the protocols. Players got released for leaving the hotel, for bringing people into the hotel. That's nothing really of substance to me. To me, it's just the number one that I really care about. And that's the players winning Harbaugh out.
Yeah, that's the big bombshell one right there. Like you said, number 4, um, I guess that could speak to a little bit of a maturity issue on the team, a lack of, you know, again, a lack of accountability culture, right? I mean, that's what that it goes back to that. Like you would want a head coach who is going to have these guys so locked in that they aren't going out the night before games, that they're locked in, they're going over film. And I know these guys are all 20 something year olds, and me and you, Alex, we know very well how much 20 something year olds like to have fun, right? And like to do their own thing sometimes.
Yeah,
But it's just when you lead a locker room of men, you would just expect to see your energy translate over into them in a positive way, right? In a more to where these guys are more stoic and more like do your job, right? And just kind of cohesive together.
yeah,
But again, like you said, again, the biggest one, number one, Lamar and most others have wanted John Harbaugh fired for years and have overheard many calls about this. You know, so it's one of those
yeah.
things where I mean the only person who can get Harbaugh about the paint is owner Steve Bisciotti. And as we know, Steve Bisciotti and John Harbaugh, they're like this. That's his guy. They were bumping shoulders before the offseason talking to Ravens media about, how much they respect each other and how much Steve Bisciotti wants a ring now and he wants to win one for Harbaugh and again and everybody else in that locker room. Multiple guys he wants to win it for before Lamar Jackson. I think that Steve Bisciotti would let the wheels fall off with Lamar Jackson before he does with John Harbaugh, and that's just man. I really don't know how to feel about that as the owner of the team that I root for. It just doesn't feel like we're going anywhere fast.
So that was kind of like the rumors that came out. Like I said, two, three, four, not really a surprise. But the number one, to me, not really surprised. But hearing, there could be some truth behind it. Definitely is something to keep an eye on. But
And thank you to
yeah,
whatever young lady that was. Thank you
yeah,
for exposing that information because we felt like we knew it already for a long time, especially that number one. But just kind of like putting it out there, and of course, you still got to kind of take it with a grain of salt, because we
yeah.
don't know about this or that or whatever. But if we're taking it for face value because it already makes sense with what we've seen, then thank you, young lady. Appreciate that.
Oh boy, life of
What
the
else we
Ravens
got?
fan, nonstop drama.
What else we got, Alex?
For the Ravens, I think that's it. To be
I think that's
honest,
it for the Ravens. The Ravens have just to run through it really quick, a couple scenarios for them to make the playoffs because that is in the title as well. Ravens win AFC North scenario. So option one is to just win out. Option two, you got to beat Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. You can split the New England and Green Bay, and the Steelers have to lose one to either Miami, Detroit, or Cleveland. Those are like right there.
and
Those
I'll
are
tell you
probably the
this.
two best options. Go ahead.
I'll tell you this. With the way Shador's been playing, he's now the starter. Like the Browns always play the Steelers hard. They do. I think they'll lose a game definitely to the Lions. Like this is now just speaking just as a fan. I definitely think the Steelers will drop a game. I think there will be a time in which the Ravens will have that chance to take the North over again. Will they take advantage of it? Will they do it? I don't know. But the Steelers will not win out. It's
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win out either. I think that they could sneakily lose to Miami. To be honest with you,
Yeah, they've been playing good.
Miami's been playing well. And then they've got Detroit right after that. Detroit, that running game. If they could, I mean, because again, the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, they are born and bred and built to beat the John Harbaugh led Baltimore Ravens. They just are, you know. And a big part of me all week last week was thinking to myself, like in the back of my mind, like, we could very well lose this game. And of course, me being a fan with the purple glasses that I have, I had to go out and say, think with my heart on this one and say, the Ravens are going to take this one home. As Ravens Steelers, I'm never going to pick the Steelers to beat the Ravens, at least not on our platform. I'm just probably not going to do that. Okay. But deep down inside, I knew that like, this was one of those games where you know the Steelers can kind of take advantage of what the Ravens' deficiencies are. Appreciate the sub, low
Welcome.
temps. Welcome. Um, but yeah, it's just it sucks. It sucks. What else were you saying though? My bad.
Um, that was really it.
Okay.
I can kind of go into some quick NFL hits. Obviously,
Yeah.
Shore Sanders. I wish
Mhm.
I would have had him in fantasy this week. 33 points he dropped. Well, I think two or three passing touchdowns, ran for one.
And they took him out on the last play, the 2 point conversion or something.
I want him to get out of there.
Mm.
The Browns are just a dysfunction. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, you got to give him his time to shine. I mean, I know he didn't have the best completion percentage in that game. I think just a little bit over 50%. Put the ball in the air 46 or 48 times, something like that. But three touchdowns to one interception and 364 yards for a guy who you guys said was a fifth round talent. When I say you guys, I'm talking about NFL GMs around the league. Y'all all said passed on this guy multiple times, even the teams who desperately needed a quarterback. And this guy is proving to you in real time that he's a winner, and you can build something out of him. But yeah,
I'll tell you this
unfortunate.
though, kind of going along with extending Andrews, Harold Fannin. We hit on tight ends. We do not need to be giving tight ends a whole amount of money. Like we have a great track record. The guys like him will be there in the third, fourth, fifth round. Give
Yeah.
40 million. That just it grinds my gears a little bit more. Moving on though,
Okay.
Rams. Matt Stafford blew out the Cardinals. We weren't surprised there.
Yeah.
Um, Commanders. I I don't know why Jaden Daniels played. I know he's healthy, but it's that interception and then the way he went down on the arm that scared me.
I think he saw Burrow come back and he was like, "Wait, if Burrow can come back and beat the
Yeah,
Ravens on Thanksgiving night, then why should I not come back?" Especially both of their seasons were pretty much all but over. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's just unfortunate that he falls down on that elbow again, and it's definitely time to shut him down for the entire for the rest of the
yeah,
season. There's just no point, man. That's supposed to be the future of your franchise, and I get it. It's like you had so much success last year with Jaden Daniels. You made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, right? And you came up just short. Yeah, you got beat by the Eagles pretty bad. And it's like the next year, okay, when we run it back, we're going all the way this time. And the season just doesn't go how you planned it to go. I mean, you can take a chapter out of the Ravens fans, fan page, fan book, whatever you want to call it. Like, this is kind of what we're going through right now. Even though the difference is we've been kind of perpetually going through the same sort of thing, like thinking that the season was going to end a lot better than it ended up ending. So I think you just got to cut your losses if you're the Commanders, shut them down, and come back next year.
yeah. Speaking of the Bengals, dropped one to the Bills. Heartbreaker. They were up most of the game, big
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and then fell apart. And that's honestly their season done and dusted. Had to win that one to stay alive. It's all but over for them. They're going to be playing spoiler against us. We lose this game, I think season's over if we lose this week. I'll be honest with you. You've got to win
Oh,
this
for
week.
sure. Yeah.
Um, what else we have going on? Oh, Broncos Raiders. Speaking of like gambling and such, it's 24-14. 3 seconds left. The Raiders kick a field goal. 24-17 final. The spread was 8.5.
Oh my
I know you played the
gosh,
whistle.
man.
There's nothing to really play for. You can take a knee, you can go for a touchdown. Point differential doesn't matter. Um, shady to me. That's all.
Yeah, man. And it's like if you're the NFL, this is another one of those like this is the issue with like marrying professional sports with gambling on such a large scale, right? Because it just makes everything look so bad. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's a 10-point game. It's a two possession game. There's no way for you to come back if you're the Raiders, right? Why even risk a field goal play? I mean, we found out yesterday that your long snapper, your center might get hurt on a play like that, and
Yeah.
so he's protected. Because since he's a defenseless guy, why would you even risk it? You're gonna put up an extra 3 points on the board for what? Just to still lose, right? And Vegas kind of gets their itch scratched in a way. Like a lot of people lost a lot of money. I'd be pissed. I'd be
Yep.
pissed, man.
Uh,
And there's got to be more to it. You can't tell me that like somebody, I think Antoine in the chat said earlier that there's probably like mob bosses, in suits, like in some of these rooms who are making some of these decisions and calls. I wouldn't doubt it, man. There's too much
Yeah.
money in this stuff. There's too much money in this stuff for it to not be, corrupted in some way, in some capacity. I'm not saying that entire NFL is rigged, but I feel like there's just too much money for there to not be some shady stuff going on somewhere. That's just me though.
No, fully agree. Uh, Bucks dropped a weird one to the Saints. Don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Tyler Shuck, 2 rushing touchdowns. Seahawks blew out the Falcons.
As
Chiefs
expected.
lost. I mean,
Chiefs lost to
Texans
Houston.
defense very, very good. Uh,
Yeah.
Speaking of talking to the media, real quick, Travis Kelsey, Mister Frontrunner, when they're up, he's going to talk. He declined to talk to the media. Mister Podcasts,
Mm.
Mister New Heights, Mister Taylor Swift. He declined to talk to the media.
Man, I think that Travis Kelsey is just really on his way out.
Yeah,
I think that he's at a point in his career now where it's like, okay, I've won 3 Super Bowls with this team over the past decade. Like, I can't really ask for much more. And now things are kind of falling apart this year. Father Time is undefeated. No dynasty lasts forever. And it's just like, not to say that the Chiefs can't bounce back, say next year or
yeah,
something like that, but it's just like for Travis Kelsey, who is, he's been with the Chiefs since the Alex Smith days, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's probably ready to get on going. Like you said, he's got his own podcast, and I know is doing well with his brother. He is engaged to the most successful artist in America, damn near the world. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot going on. I feel like he's just in a different space mentally, and that's why you kind of see some of these lapses here. Like, this is not the Travis Kelsey from like 2021, 2022, who's just like a stone cold killer. Like,
yeah.
he's making like bonehead mistakes, like the ball's constantly popping out of his hands and turnovers, creating turnovers. Like, it's just, I think he's just got one foot out.
I think it's similar to how we saw Brady his final year in Tampa. They
Mm,
made the playoffs, but they were an average team, and then they got blown out by the Cowboys at home, and that was the end of it.
yeah.
So I think it's gonna be. I think the Chiefs could squeak their way in, but I think it'll be a one and done possibly. I would hate to play them. I don't want to be the team that plays them though, but that would be either the Broncos or the Patriots or one of those teams. But I
Yeah.
don't really see much for them, especially the way last night went. Like they had to win last night. Now they don't have the tiebreaker over the Jags, Bills, or Texans. So it's like 7 seed or nothing for them. Uh,
Yep.
oh, what else? The Bears and Packers. Caleb Williams,
Mm,
he had DJ Moore to extend the game, but went for the end zone, underthrew it. Keyshawn Nixon, interception, ends the game.
yeah. Packers. I mean, Packers are one of those teams who are going to be flying high by the time the
Yep.
Ravens got to play them. And the thing about the Packers is that they have not seen Lamar Jackson. I don't think. We haven't played the
No.
Packers. Yeah,
We,
he hasn't seen.
Huntley played him.
Huntley played him. Right, 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 right. Yeah. So the Packers have not seen Lamar Jackson live and in action. Of course, this is not 100% normally healthy Lamar, but they're gonna come to play. Hopefully, we can kind of do what we normally do to NFC teams
Yeah.
when it comes to that, because we're for sure gonna need it. But no, that was a good game yesterday. Packers over the Bears. Bears have been looking frisky too, but I feel like a little bit of their success has been fool's gold. I don't think they'll go very far in the playoffs.
We said culture frauds, and granted, they were looking like it without Daniel Jones. Bears
Yeah.
kind of looking like it. It takes one to know one. Just gonna say that
Yeah, that's
it
for sure.
takes one to know
That's
one.
for sure.
I think that was most of it. Um,
Okay.
Anything else? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, nothing else really was of major significance yesterday.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to continue to monitor whether or not Philip Rivers is going to be back in the NFL, because he's working out for the Colts now at his big age of 44 years old. I don't know what they expect to get out of Philip Rivers' noodle arm at
Yeah,
this stage in the game, taking him into the playoffs. Who knows, right? But
yeah.
I think that's going to about do it for us here on this episode
Whew.
358 of the Purple Rain podcast. About an hour and a half in. We had a lot to
Wow.
get to today. So,
Yeah.
it is what it is. More content to go around. Make sure you guys like this video. Like the video as always. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here at the Purple Rain podcast. If you're part of the hashtag replay game, which means you watch this after the live stream was over, shout out to you. Hello. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and comment down below your favorite parts Comments, questions, concerns, whatever you got. And then also, you can always follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can find him on Instagram at simplyas10.prod. You can find me on Instagram at not simply as, at Sutton Def. Sorry, and pretty much anywhere at Sutton Def. You can find him on Twitter at simplyas10. Yeah, we love you guys. Of course, there will be more content dropping throughout the week, so stay tuned and locked into the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. And with that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Yeah, thank you for coming through episode 358 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This has been episode 358 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.